Almost Famous Radio podcast with your host, Jeffy McJefferson. Let's go.
And welcome to the Almost Famous Radio podcast. Here we are with El Dude today, man. Man, I missed you, dude.
I missed you too.
Hadn't seen you in a while.
Well, been busy.
You know, you got a lot of things going on in your life, and I understand that. You got your work, you got all sorts of. Man, it's just the way it is, man, with everybody, right?
Absolutely, man. I'd love to be here more regular, but hey,
Yeah, you might here soon. So, of course, we go around the table, even though it's not really around the table, but we're just back and forth to the table. What you got, man?
Just Mac and Jack's African Amber Ale.
It's one of your favorites.
It is.
Yeah.
It's whenever I go to a restaurant and they have it, I always do a little mini celebration.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got Lucille from Georgetown, one of my favorites too. So, man, this is going to kind of be a sport. Well, it's not going to kind of be. This is going to be a sports edition. And I've been wanting to do a sports edition for a while.
Well, that's not really my forte. I don't know nothing about sports. Right. But,
yeah. Yeah. He's in the interior design and he loves Seinfeld.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, sports is up. Yeah.
Let's stay in my wheelhouse.
Let's do it.
Jeff, let's do it.
Okay, we were talking today about NFL referees. The refereeing this year especially, and it has been atrocious in my eyes. What's your take on it, bud?
Same. It's it is sad when suspicion creeps into you when you're watching NFL football games of favoritism, of what are they promoting? What do they want? I'm not saying they're paid off. I don't want to go that far, but there's some bias going on. There's some serious questions whether they are actually being as subjective as they can be when they're just calling play-by-play. It's
But the amount of flags this year is ungodly.
Oh my goodness!
And just a few. I don't get to watch every game. I don't have NFL ticket or whatever it is. But every game I've watched so far, man, they've been there's flags all over the place flying.
Yeah, the quality of the broadcast is affected. I mean, we were talking about two Thursdays ago, the Dolphin game, 22 flags. It's ridiculous.
It's outrageous.
This last Thursday, 15 flags. They need to really decide what they want as a product from the NFL. And then it just seems like they're calling stuff that's phantom. They're calling stuff that's favoring one team over the other. And they're making themselves a part of the story. And when I was growing up and when I was playing sports my whole life, the object of the referees were to, yes, control the game from aspects of not letting people do egregious type of fractions, but to be the main part of the story was never the referee's point. When I was coaching for many years, high school football, varsity high school football, and in the great state of Oregon, it was best when they, the end of the game, nobody was talking about the refs.
Right.
It was about two good football teams that came to play, played their hearts out. Everybody gave their best effort. Everybody, of course, got out of the game with as little or no injuries as possible. And it was about the sport, the competitiveness, the camaraderie between people, the relationship of the team, the culture of the team, the fans, the people coming together. If the two teams had a great game and one team won by a slight amount, the fans from one team would say great game to the other team.
Yeah.
And the competition was about the players, the play, the execution. And so often it just seems like in the last few weeks in the NFL, it's the referees wanting to make themselves the main attraction.
Freaking nerd referees.
Yes.
Now, see, okay, and I wanted to jump in here. Okay, so the NFL players on every team, this is the elite. This is the best football players in the world. You start as in Pop Warner. You go up through junior high, high school, you go through college, and you get fortunate enough to be drafted in the NBA or in NFL. And you have to put up with this shit. I mean, you guys are the best of the best. Why aren't referees the best of the best? Should there be more of a Pop Warner, high school, college, or should there be any kind of school, something that makes, aren't they part-time anyway? And it just bugs me that these guys busted their ass all the way through, all the way from Pop Warner to professional football to make it to the best of the best, the elite. And this is how they get paid back, by bullshit calls all the time and flag after flag. And don't get me started on this. Oh, they're going to make this a point of emphasis this year, because that's a bunch of shit too. Because they do that on the first game, and then that goes out the window.
I think you bring up an incredible point in that the athletes that are out there have worked their whole lives. They spent hours in the weight room. They've spent hours on the field, daily doubles, daily triples, daily quadruples back in my day, to perfect their techniques on every aspect of their sport. They've dedicated their lives to it. An NFL football player doesn't become an NFL football player by just snapping his fingers and saying, I'm going to be an NFL football player.
Right.
He worked his ass off, reps after reps after reps, in the hot sun, in August, in July, in the off season. And then they go play a game where there are part-time officials.
Right.
Do the officials go to daily doubles? Do the officials spend hours upon hours at their craft? And the answer is no.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, go ahead.
It's just ridiculous to me that it's allowed in professional sports for officials not to be full-time. And for there not to be a system in which there are systems in which they're evaluated, but there's not stringent enough.
Right.
There has to be the best of the best are out there playing the game. The officials need to be the best of the best. And I don't think there's not enough meritocracy in the officiating world to weed out the good and the bad, just like what happens on the field.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, because it's just been atrocious this year, worse than I've seen in a while, at least. And we're only 3 or 4 weeks in the season, and it's irritating as all hell.
Absolutely. I think that your point about the emphasis on the game, the very first game of the year, where the Ravens were flagged 5 times in a row for a offensive lineman not being up on the line. And you and I were watching the game, and we were, conversing back and forth, saying that, it's great that they're going to emphasize this that everybody is up on the line of scrimmage, not giving the offensive lineman a advantage when it comes to pass rush and stuff like that. They have to be at a certain level. Then the Thursday night game was atrociously emphasized, and then Sunday comes, and half of the rest of the NFL's playing, and they're not calling the same way that they just called it 2 or 3 days before.
They called it like 5 times on the first drive on the Ravens. And let me go ahead and full transparency, I don't like the Ravens. I don't like the Chiefs. I don't like the Bengals because we've had calls and all this stuff, and I couldn't care less about the Falcons. We were talking about this earlier. But and it sounds like I'm picking on the Chiefs because I probably am. But they call it like 5 times the illegal formations and shit like that on the first drive. And I've never seen it called again. Certainly when Kansas City didn't have the ball, and the tackles were leaving early pretty much the whole game. And I'm like, okay, so you're sitting there telling us that there's a point of emphasis on this kind of shit, and you're going to call it for the, on the, 5 times or what have you on the first drive, and forget about it the rest of the game and the rest of the weekend? How in the hell is that a point of emphasis? I hate that point of emphasis shit anyway, because they always put that out every summer. It was like, we're going to have a point of emphasis on the tackling below the waist or whatever on a quarterback and things like that. Which another thing is, okay, I'm not a Chiefs fan. And like I said, I couldn't care less about the Falcons. But that quote-unquote roughing the passer on Chris Jones was just absolutely laughable. And the reason I'm saying about I got the Chiefs because that's all pretty much you get the game in your area. Okay, like I said, I don't have NFL Sunday tickets, so I don't maybe I should get it, but I don't forget that anyway. So I've watched it, and they're playing primetime games, but the pass interference against Cincinnati, I didn't think it was pass interference. People could disagree with me all they want. I think they went straight up over the ball, or straight up, going for the ball. Both players have a right to the ball. It's just chicken shit call, I thought. Kansas City seems to get all these kind of calls toward the end of the game. That's why you see it all over the place. This is turning into New England Patriots Part 2.
I can't agree more, Jeff. I can't agree more. Prior to the season, there was 2 emphases that they said were going to be emphasis by the referees, and that was tackles lining up, that I believe their helmet has to be on the I don't know what it's exactly, but the butt of the center, is that how it is?
Yes.
Is that how it's?
I think that's how it's framed.
Yeah, their helmet has to be in line, and the other thing was the drop tackle. They were supposed to emphasize.
Oh God, yeah,
and call the drop tackle and
drop hip.
What's it called?
The drop hip tackle.
Drop hip tackle. Okay, so we're 4 weeks into the season for the NFL. Not one drop hip tackle, I think, has been called that I know of in the games I've watched.
Me neither, and I've seen them.
And like you said, I don't either have Sunday Ticket, but even if I did, back in the early days of Sunday Ticket, I did buy it. But you still can't watch every game. I wish I had a life that I could.
Yeah.
I would have no other life if I watched every game.
If I was a sports radio host, and I could sit up there and watch every game, blah 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 blah, and check it out, and stuff like that. Different story.
Absolutely.
Now I'm the drop hip tackle. I think is that rule is kind of bullshit anyway.
Do you really want my personal opinion, and I'm extremely strongly against the sissifying of NFL football.
Kind of where I was going.
You know, I mean, you and I are have a few gray hairs on our head, and back in our day, there was not targeting, there was not the sissifying of the NFL. There wasn't any defenseless player calls, and football has always been a gladiator sport. What sets it apart from all the other sports in the world is that, yes, you may get hurt playing football.
It's a man's game.
It's not only if, it's when. We have 53-man rosters, but it takes 70-ish players a year to make it through in the NFL. Every team has injuries. That's what makes the NFL so great, that they haven't sissified it as much as they have in the last, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. And like you said, roughing the passer is, yeah, okay. They say they want to protect the quarterbacks because, hey, they're making all the millions of dollars. They're leading, and that's what people want to watch. And I'd say, no, I want to see some people blow up some other people.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they're making a lot of money, and that's what people want to watch. But it's been that way forever. Okay. And there's been smaller quarterbacks that's survived the league that's had to take giant hits, you know, and stuff like that. Now, okay, there should be a roughing the passer penalty, when it's warranted. But if you graze the head with your middle fingernail and they call a fucking roughing the passer on it, or, you know, okay, you know what? Maybe, okay, I can kind of see the going at the knees thing. That's a little bit kind of, that's an iffy thing. I'm not sure yet on it, but you're going to get blown up, man. You play this game because this is a man's sport, and it's a tough guy sport. And if you choose to play quarterback and get the big money, well, you better damn sure make sure that you have an offensive line that's getting paid before you sign that big ass contract, and to cover your ass. Okay, so if you take 3 or 4 steps and blow up a quarterback, okay, roughing the passer, that's a penalty. It's always has been.
Yeah, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was a penalty. If it was egregious. The problem now is that you bump a quarterback below the waist, you bump the guy's head, it's a penalty. And if you get too many penalties that are like that,
you're kicked out.
Derwin James, he plays the game old school. He plays the game like it's supposed to be played. There should be a fear of going over the middle for receivers.
Exactly.
And let's get a little bit into the economics of football. Yes, the average seasons that an NFL player is 4.5. Yes, the average salary of an NFL football player, because guess what? All those millions that the quarterbacks make, it gets added in to all of the salaries that NFL players make. So you have a 4.5 year average. The average NFL football player makes close to $20 million each.
Yeah.
If you quit buying cars, you quit buying $1 million mansions, and you quit buying all the bling, most everybody would agree that if you give me $20 million, I don't need to work another day in my life.
I think I could make it.
I just think I can.
Yeah.
You and I are average folks.
Yes.
And we're not going to make $20 million in our lifetimes.
Oh, we're sitting here in a humble backyard studio just bullshitting. And we're not going to make that. And that's what. But go ahead. You're on. You've got something going on. I don't want to take you off this.
Well, I mean, it's just that there's no NFL football player that plays the game that cannot survive. It's all life-changing money. It is. If you're able to make $1 million or $2 million or $3 million, the average NFL football player makes $20 million. Your life, your family is taken care of for life if you wish it to be.
Right.
It's the blowing of the money. It's the just outright.
Whatever you do with it, that's up to you.
Yeah, you don't need $3,000 bottles of champagne.
Huh.
Nobody needs $3,000 bottles of champagne.
Be nice to have. Not every day. I'd like to be able to afford a $3,000 bottle of champagne just one time.
Yeah, and we all would, and that's the whole thing, is that all the work that comes into becoming a professional athlete.
Yes,
you would think that with all that hard work, they would respect the dollar more. They would respect the money they're making, but it just seems like so many times they don't.
Yeah.
They have all these rookie symposiums and stuff that talk about one of the major rookie symposiums is money. It's involved.
Herm Edwards that does those.
There's
I know
several,
he was.
There's
I know
several
he was,
guys,
okay.
and Herm is one of them. But it's how to set yourself up for life, how to set your family up for life, and it's just amazing how many of these athletes don't take that advantage of the resources that they have.
Yeah.
And so it for people to just say that, oh, they only have a 4 or 5 year window to make their money. Well, give me 4 or 5 years, let me make $20 million. And not only will my generation, my family be there for life, but so will the 4 or 5 generations after me.
Right. Okay. Now that kind of brought me into a question, because I just now thought of this. I hear a lot of people, and it kind of pisses me off. They say, "Oh my God, these athletes get paid way fucking too much money, man. They make way too much money. Okay, so you do your job. Say you're like me in automotive, or any of us, or your job, and they say, okay, that the money that they're making is just way too outrageous. Personally, if you do a job and you do it well and you're top notch, and you should get paid for it. I have no problem with athletes getting paid all this money. I'm not going to go on to my job and go, hey, you know what? I think I make too much money. Man, maybe you should just go ahead and cut my pay. I'll even come in on my days off and work. Okay, I know I threw this curveball at you because I didn't say I was going to, I didn't tell you I was going to do this stuff. But have you heard it, and what do you think? I know you've heard it, but what do you think?
Well, talk a little more about where you're going with that, because I want to make sure that I understand where you're going with it. So
what I'm going with is like,
what exactly are you saying?
It's that you hear people always talk about whenever you see somebody get, they'll have a contract signing for $242 million and whatever guaranteed. Oh, I can't believe that's just. I can't believe they're paying this person this much money to play a game or whatever. But it's their craft. It's what they've worked for all their lives. Just whatever, and same reason that what we do, that we work for. Don't you want to get paid the most money you can for doing what you do?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's capitalism. That's
right.
That's the market drives the prices.
It just pisses me off when people just go like, that's too much money to pay for somebody. But man, it's They're the best in the world. This is we talked about it before. They're elite class of people.
Yeah.
They busted their ass all the way from whatever, And if that's the market, then get paid.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, they're one of one. Okay, the NFL football player is one of 12 to 1,500 people that can do the job.
Or NBA or hockey or anything.
Yeah, NBA is even smaller. NBA is the top 300.
Right.
Can get paid, and I'm talking about the major leagues, the NBA, and then the G League and stuff like that.
And
you're talking about,
everything.
and with the NFL, they don't have a minor league, but there's a whole nother conversation with colleges being their minor leagues. But you're right. No, the market should set it. But then again, with the TV money that these teams are making, the TV money that is pumped into for football, you have a salary cap. You have a 51% goes to the players, 49% goes to the owners. It has to go to them. That's collectively bargained. All of that is set. Now, as an average American with being middle class, it's hard for me to take my family of four to a game.
Sure.
I mean, for the NFL, it's almost $2,000 to $3,000 for me to take my family to a game.
I get that.
Now, NBA, one of the disgusting things that happens in the NBA that doesn't happen in any other sports, but it's leaking into the Major League Baseball is load management.
That hurts.
For about $1,000, I can take my team to my family to a Portland Trail Blazer game. Okay, if they're playing the Warriors at home, I'm excited. I'm going to Portland. We're driving up. We have to stay in a hotel. We have to buy tickets, and I'm not going to pick on Steph Curry, but I'm saying the superstar from the team that's coming in decides not to play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that drive me just incredibly nuts. Just the average ticket prices for NFL I just sometimes don't understand how
but you get to see everybody. I mean, you get to see the starters. You get to see them every game.
With the NFL,
I know it's only 17, 18 games. It's starting to get higher and higher. But
yes,
you get to see the top-notch players unless they're injured.
You do, but at some point in time, aren't the ticket prices going to pace what people can pay?
Not sure.
I mean, the stadiums are still full.
They're still full. And NBA, with the load management shit, it's bull crap. Okay, I don't think I ever seen Michael Jordan go, man, I gotta come out. I'm not gonna play today because it's load management and things like that. I think that kind of that era of course is gone. Of course that type of basketball is gone too. I hate the new NBA compared to back then. I did like the physicality of the NBA back then. I liked Michael Jordan just he was getting his ass kicked by the Pistons, and what did he do? He didn't bitch, whine. He didn't moan. All he did was he got better. He just got better. He's like, okay, I'm gonna get stronger. I'm going to be able to go into the lane, and I'm going to be able to dunk the ball on you, Bill Laimbeer, or anybody else from the bad boy Pistons. And that's what he did, and that's why he's the GOAT. Yeah. Kobe the same way. Kobe was had the mentality of Jordan. I know that. I don't know if you may be a Steph Curry fan. He's a good basketball player, but I think that if he played in that era, he would be probably in the fetal position, every time he tried to drive to the lane. You don't have a chance to you don't have a chance to bitch about the foul to the referees, man. If you're knocked unconscious, basically. Not saying that everybody should be knocked unconscious, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and just to bring it back to football, that's the great thing about football is that we don't have load management in football.
No. Well, maybe we're going to if they keep expanding these, the regular season games.
Well, if they go to 18 games, I think
you may start seeing it.
We might. But I mean, that's so. I mean, gosh, last night the Miami Virginia Tech game.
The Hurricanes. Yeah,
Miami Hurricanes. Virginia. I mean, Miami lost 6 high starters, highly touted starters on their defense. And they have to rely on. I mean, that's so. What is so? When we talk about the NFL, when I talk about the NFL with my European friends, when I talk about the NFL and the difference between that and rugby, that and any other sport, I talk about that. It takes in the NFL a 53-man roster. It takes college football that you might have to go 2 or 3 deep at some positions just to finish a game.
Sure.
So as a college football coach, you don't not only have to get your 22 starters on offense, defense, and your other 11 to 20 players on special teams ready to go. You got to get 20 other players ready to go to step in for any one of those positions at any point in time.
Sure.
And you're expected, offensive and defensively to run the scheme the same as a starter. And it's when we talk about different things, different sports and different aspects, the gladiator part of the NFL is what makes it so awesome to watch.
Yeah.
It's that you have 17 to 25 car collisions every game.
Every game.
At almost every position.
I want to get into this a little more about this. I do want to take a break if you don't mind. And then we'll be right back. And we're back. We were just talking in the break about ticket prices and stuff like that. Dude, can you kind of elaborate on that we were talking about in the break? And there was good points that you made and everything like that. And don't worry, you're not contradicting yourself.
I just want to. It's just a quandary that I deal with these days, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. I got a few gray hairs, but I am a total capitalist in that I think that whatever anybody gets paid, they should be able to earn as much money as they possibly can. And then on the other side of it, as a consumer, I just look at, if I want to go to an NFL game right now, it's $3,000 by the time you factor in travel, food for a family of 4. And I see these stadiums that are packed, full of people. Now I know that there's a majority of that is corporate, and now all the skyboxes and that is the upper echelon of income earners in the United States. But it's just I just think the ticket prices have gone through the roof. I think that player salaries have gone through the roof. And it's just a little bit concerning to me, just the oxymoron between how much, can a family afford to go to an event, and is it sustainable going into the future?
I get what you're saying. You see the stadiums packed, right? You're talking about these places being in large cities, and then it's not like that there's an NFL franchise in Missoula, Montana, where you can go to a game for so and so and so and so. So, and they're probably still packed too. I mean, I actually, I'm going out on a little deal. When I went to Oklahoma not too long ago, and we flew into Dallas, and there was Montana Grizzly people, so they're great people. So I'm not bagging on Missoula, Montana. So, but I mean, they're going to fill it up, man, because number one, they're rabid. Okay, number two, they're fanatics. That's what's short for fanatics fan, and they're going to pay their shit to go to these games, and they're local. We're not local. Okay, we're not. And so if we lived in an area, I like I was telling you during the break, we went to Arizona, and it happened to be opening day, and the Chiefs were there to play the Cardinals, and I just happened to look up tickets, and it was like $270 a piece, which I didn't think was that bad for an NFL game. However, it's that bad for an NFL game with two teams who I don't give two shits about. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, if our Dolphins were playing, I'd have went. So, you see where I'm coming from on that.
Absolutely. I see where you're coming from. I was Oregon Duck season ticket holder for 9 years. And you buy the home package of however many home games, and usually it was 5 or 6. And depending on who the opponent was, the face value of the tickets were from $35 to $75 for each seat. And just this year, they've joined the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And they're $300.
Sure.
Per ticket. And it wasn't that long ago when I was a season ticket holder. And so now, Oregon Duck Autzen Stadium has been sold out. Gosh dang, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's many games that it's been sold out.
Sure.
Year after year after year, it sells out every game. And so from a consumer standpoint, the supply and demand is there. And so I just wonder if it's sustainable in the future, whether it's football, basketball. Baseball has 162 games, has 81 home games. So you can still go to a Major League Baseball game for $20.
Yeah. Now, real quick on the Ducks you were talking about. Curiosity, do you know how much like student tickets are for students?
Well, first of all, I've witnessed the line that they stand in. Now, for back in the day, Pac-12 games, the line was humongous. People camped out 2 and 3 days before tickets went on sale.
But student tickets have to be way less than.
Yeah, they're way less, but in Autzen Stadium, it's only one section that are student tickets. I don't know, how much.
Well, it's not that big of a stadium, so how big is the section?
Yeah, but 60,000 now. But the student section is. I mean, you have the student section, the band section, and then they have one section for the visiting team.
Okay.
And sometimes the visiting team section is all, when they play, when the Pac-12, when they play USC, Washington, Oregon State, almost any. Very seldom did it have any Duck fans in that section. So you got 3 sections that are students, band, and the visiting team. But the rest of the stadium is always packed. The atmosphere is amazing. It's one of the loudest stadiums in the country. And it's a great atmosphere. It's a great game. It's a great place. It's a great afternoon. It's a great day. We love doing it. The pregame, the aftergame, second to none. I'd put it up against any stadium. Now, you're talking about Michigan, Ohio State. They got a 100,000 seat stadium.
Yeah.
The Big House, 110,000.
Tennessee, 100,000.
So yeah, but
Alabama, 100,000.
in little tiny Oregon, we're at 60.
Well, Alabama is not a huge state.
It's not, but there's no, pro football there. So
True. I don't know how many seats.
Same with Oregon.
Georgia holds. But
Same with Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm sure that. I'm sure
Michigan
that
has a pro football team.
Yeah. No.
Ohio has pro football.
Georgia, I'm sure has a nice stadium, but they've got professional teams there, and so. But I just wonder. The economics of professional and college sports is just astronomical when you think about the numbers, and it's only growing because of the TV money, and it's only growing because of the NIL.
Okay, so there's shit tons of money we're talking about. I'm going to go back a little bit and backtrack, but there's shit tons of money in college sports with the NIL, and I do want to get into that if we can here in a minute. But there's all this money that's in the NFL that we're talking about, and yet we still have shit ass referees. Unbelievable, isn't it? You're paying all these guys and this stuff like this, and these referees suck.
Well, they should be full time.
Would it help?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that I think it's any industry, your industry, my industry. If you're able to concentrate 100% on your profession, you're going to be better at it.
You should be good at it.
And the fact that college referees, NFL referees for football and they have full-time jobs, and their second job is being a referee.
Just real quick, I've noticed, a lot of shit ass officiating lately, but do you think legalized gambling has anything to do with this? Just out of curiosity. I don't know if it does. I have no proof. I just threw that out there.
Well, for many, many, many years, the
professional CBS had Jimmy the freaking Greek anyway. But go ahead.
Yeah, but after him, not a lot was said about the gambling. Point spreads weren't as prolific.
All the other betting that goes on to the side, what are the prop bets?
Yeah.
And shit. But you hear all this shit now, man. It's like, it just kind of makes me wonder a little bit.
Oh, I agree. It seems to me how, I don't know how it can't.
In every sport except for hockey. But go ahead.
No, your point is very well taken. But there's gambling on hockey too. So,
well, sure.
But can a hockey ref affect the game as much as an NFL ref, an NBA ref? There's been scandals in the NBA. There's been scandals in professional baseball way back.
I have on my notes Angel Hernandez, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the Shohei Ohtani thing is. You shake your head. We can talk about his talent, and the different aspects of his talent, that's a whole nother subject. But for his interpreter to lose, I don't know, 14 million, maybe that's not the exact amount, lose $14 million and he doesn't know about it.
Could have been.
I'm sorry.
Maybe not, but could have been.
I'm sorry. I think that if he would have been nobody left fielder for the Cincinnati Reds, who lost $3 million, probably would have been suspended.
Well, I don't know if it's Cincinnati Reds. I mean, I don't think they need another one of those Pete Rose shit there. But I know what you're talking about.
Well, okay, yeah. Bad example, maybe.
No,
by picking the Reds.
We're all Pete Rose fans.
San Diego Padres.
I'm a Pete Rose fan here, so I'm hoping Pete Rose.
Well,
anyway, but go ahead. They get to gamble all over the place. Reggie Bush gets his Heisman back and shit like that because all this stuff. And now they legalize gambling, and then Pete Rose can't go into the Hall of Fame. That's bullshit.
Well, I think your point that you started off with
the gambling
when it comes to refereeing, I think that there's opportunity. I think that there is, when they say that there used to be a saying, if you don't give people opportunity to commit crimes, they won't commit crimes. I think there's definitely an opportunity to influence games with gambling, because when you're talking about money,
it just makes me wonder.
Anybody is susceptible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pay me X amount to be an NFL referee, and you're going to pay me X amount to influence one game, and they're the same, my annual salary,
yeah,
to influence one game, I think that the opportunity is there. I think that hopefully they're taking precautions to not let that happen. But as you know, to circle back to one of our conversations and the beginning of this podcast, I believe there's some bias happening now, whether it's conscious, whether it's influenced by money, whether it's influenced by the league in the Kansas City Chiefs,
the Kansas City Patriots. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think all leagues, when they have a team that's dominating, in the Patriots, it was for 20 years. Today, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's in their best interest to keep one team dominating as a league.
Yeah, well.
And is there behind the scenes?
How the fucking Giants beat them twice, especially after an undefeated year. What happened on that? But gosh dang.
Well,
now, okay, we're talking about gambling, and now money-wise, and free money going everywhere is NIL in college. Now, the transfer portal I was cool with, okay, because number one, I mean, you couldn't transfer anywhere. I mean, even if unless the coach left. But the coach can leave and go somewhere and shit like that. They can do whatever the hell they want. Now, the NIL money is being unchecked. Should there be some regulation on this somehow, some way, or whatever?
Oh, I definitely think that you're bringing up a topic that, gosh,
it's Wild Wild West, man.
I think it's worse than the Wild Wild West. And what I mean by that is that you're talking about 18, 19, and 20-year-old kids being susceptible to conversations, being susceptible to
agents.
Well, agents and
No contracts.
No contracts. Now, I will agree with you 100%. The portal should have been 10 years prior.
Sure.
I personally transferred when I was a college athlete. I transferred from within the same division. I had to sit out a year. I had to redshirt a year. It was hard. I had to practice every day,
And you couldn't play.
and I couldn't play.
Yeah.
That was the rule for a long, long time. If you transfer from one Pac-12 school to another Pac-12 school, D1 to D1, you had to sit out a year.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm with you 100% on that. Now, NIL is an interesting concept. You
Because
and I,
you're melding transfer portal with money.
oh, absolutely.
And this is going to be a disaster.
The
Well, it already is.
the corruptibility, the opportunity to be corrupt is
UNLV, but go ahead.
Well, UNLV, SMU.
Well, SMU was, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
Now wait.
Go ahead. I'll give you
Let me
my
finish.
take on SMU.
Let me say
here
one more
soon.
sentence, and then it's all yours. Everything that happened at SMU is legal today.
Right. Well, that's what I was telling everybody at the table one day. I was like, okay, SMU went to the ACC. Everything that they did back then was illegal. And we're not talking, we're talking money. We're talking about real oil money. So it wouldn't surprise me if SMU turned out to be pretty fucking good here soon.
All the Texas schools.
But this is what it is. This is what it is. And Oregon's fortunate enough to have Phil. Because if not, man, Oregon would be out of luck. I mean, talking about the Ducks. Oregon State's already out of luck. Phil didn't help them out none. Phil fucked them over. But yeah, and so NIL, man, there's got to be some. It's got to be regulated some, or you better go to a farm system like baseball or something like that. You got to have to go to it may just end up like a two conferences, divisions, and stuff like that, just like in the NFL, and just be the farm system for the NFL. I mean, it already is, but you know what I mean after that.
Well, yeah,
But it totally takes away the atmosphere and fun of college football, and that's where it's going to me.
what I think, okay, there's so much about NIL, but let's look into the future. 10 years from now.
Real quick, I say I don't mind guys getting paid for doing this. Okay. But go ahead.
Okay.
I want to make that perfectly clear before you.
I agree with you 100% that over the last 25 years, the student athlete has been taken advantage of over and over and over again in the college football realm, where so many millions of dollars were being made by these colleges, and the players were getting none. Hence, just the last week, Reggie Bush filed a lawsuit against USC and the NCAA, saying that he wants to be compensated for back when he was playing. I don't know if you heard about that, but
I did not. I can't believe that.
Yeah, he just filed a lawsuit. Reggie Bush did.
After he got his Heisman back and all this kind of stuff.
Well,
yeah, but go ahead.
A tangent that I don't want to go into, but we can talk about another thing. So, the next 10 years of NIL. Okay, we've already went to a 12-team playoff as of this year,
which I agreed with.
I like too. But what is going to happen is there's 30 teams in college football that will be in the 12-team playoff, and no more, because of NIL. I don't think that if you go past 30 teams, that let's just pick Wisconsin.
Let's go with Wisconsin. Go ahead.
Just because. They're never going to be in a 12-team playoff because they don't have NIL money. I'm sorry, there's going to be 2 or 3 teams in the top of the conferences. So there's going to be 20 to 25 teams that are going to make the 12-team playoff every year. Now, yes, Oregon is very, very, very fortunate to have Phil Knight. But as my esteemed colleague on this podcast has pointed out so many times, there's 7 Phil Knights in Texas.
At least.
Oil money. Okay. There's billionaires upon billionaires in Texas. And your point is so perfect that even if we say, I think there's a few people in California that will waste their money on NIL to keep USC relevant. After that, I think you're going to have the Texas schools, 1 or 2 schools in Florida, Ohio State, Michigan, a few other schools that have boosters, that have the billions. But let me go to the economics of NIL here.
You're an economic guy.
Okay. My life in the accounting world and the tax world and my everyday job, at some point in time, there is going to be 0 return on investment from NIL. I don't care who you are, oil guy, Hollywood guy.
Phil
Knight may be an exception because...
Wait, you can't bias Phil Knight because you're a duck guy.
No. He might be the exception because he sells shoes.
Yeah, well... And plus, he's got 1 foot in the grave.
And his brand will continue
Sure
on.
it will. Yeah, of course.
Because
oil continue.
Because not only is he paying money to make the NIL in Oregon great, everybody in college football is wearing his shoes. Everybody in other sports are wearing his shoes. So Phil might be a little different. Where's the return on investment from Mr. Oil Guy given money so that Texas can recruit the biggest, baddest boys in town?
You know what their return of investment is?
Tell me.
It's, say, oil guy number 1. Let's just call him J.R. Ewing. Okay. And he provides NIL to Texas. And there's oil guy number 2, who is his brother Bobby Ewing, who provides money to SMU, say. You know where their return on investment is? They're going to bet each other billions on all sorts of shit. That's just what oil guys do. Okay, oil guys didn't get to their trade by just going, "Hey man, I'm going to make some shoes." These guys go out and they put everything out there on the line and they bet everything, and they'll fuck you over before they look at you. So that's just, to me, what they might do. It's just a pride thing with them. Phil's got it made with the shoe company. Oil guys are going like, "Hey man, I'll take 6-year wells, man, when SMU beats Texas for the national championship." And then that same guy will go, "Hey, you know what? I'll take 12 of your fucking," when Texas wins the national championship over you and everybody else. That's These guys are arrogant sons of bitches, man.
Well, what you're talking about is taxed and untaxed money. So, I mean, from a tax standpoint.
Well, I ain't talking about taxable income. No, but that's their return on investment.
And what you're talking about is balls. Who's got the biggest
balls of them all?
Correct. I think now
oil dudes have the biggest balls of them all.
Well, I think puffing your chest out in Texas, oil guy to oil guy is definitely there's competition. I mean, it's competition. I'm bigger than you. I'm badder than you. Yeah, I'll bet this oil will against your oil. I don't doubt what you're saying one bit, but I think basically the return on investment of any NIL investment is almost zero.
It's almost okay. I got you.
From an economic
sure
standpoint. Economic. Now, when you're talking about chest puffed out, big balls.
Fuck you. Yeah, you know.
Did you say fuck you?
I did.
You said the F word on this. You're going to get us shut off.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. It's
none of that shit, motherfucker, on this podcast, right? No, but I'm talking economics. You're talking stature. You're talking. And I guarantee you
that's the oil guys.
Oh, I think it is. But can Connecticut compete? Can Wisconsin compete?
Yeah.
Can Purdue compete?
Absolutely not. They haven't anyway, but go ahead. Yeah.
So what it's going to come down to is there's only a set amount of schools that can compete for those 12 spots of NCAA football. And the long-term effect, I think, is bad.
Disastrous.
I agree.
Unless they actually go to a pro football format with two conferences and divisions. Then maybe, just maybe, we might have some kind of resolution on
connected to the colleges or not? Funded by the colleges or not?
We'll never know. Okay.
We will know. We will know the next 30 years it's gonna change. What's it gonna change to? I agree. Basketball has the G League and the European League.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So there is.
But you have blue bloods in college basketball that'll always.
But the first 20 picks, half of them are from the G League and the European League.
Now.
Right. So the farm system, college farm system that we have in basketball is gone. Baseball, yes, they get their players from college, but those college players go to single A, double A. They do not go straight to the major leagues.
Let me tell you something, man. JC baseball, as you well know, junior college baseball, is cutthroat-ass baseball. Those are the best baseball players ever. Better than pros. I mean, but then again, they're a global thing too. But college football is not a global thing.
Yeah.
For the most part, unless you're BYU and you get everybody from the South Pacific.
Yeah, but football is still a unique. The farm system for football is still college football.
I don't know what they're going to do. I just don't know. I mean, there's got to be some kind of regulation on NIL, I guess. I just don't know how it's going to happen and shit like that.
Can I use my crystal ball for a sec?
I'd like you to.
The Rock has his new pro football league.
Oh, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, guy.
The USFL, the XFL, they merged, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
There's going to be some people with some billionaires that are going to go, high school football player, we are going to create a minor league system for the NFL. High school football player, come play for our minor league. They're going to pay them. They're going to take a certain amount of money that is getting spent now on NIL, and some smart people are going to get together and they're going to put together a minor league football system. And then you're a high school senior and you want to go to Ohio State or you want to go to the minor league football. And I believe that football will no longer be in college.
Scary thought.
Because I think there's an economic return on investment that will happen. They will give the high school senior money to play in their little thing and then get a cut when they get drafted.
Okay.
Crystal ball, Dude, putting it out there. Nobody else is.
You know what? I think that's an awesome place to leave it for today. We got a lot more stuff we want to talk about, but not today. Dude, I thank you for coming in, man. This was fun. This is what we wanted to do.
Jeffrey McJefferson, being part of Almost Famous Radio is one of my most favorite things ever to do. I hope that the listeners appreciate what I had to offer. I'm not the end all be all when it comes to this. I'm super humble in the fact that I get to express my opinions. I've lived some interesting adventures in my life. I poured everything into everything I've ever done, and it's got me to where I am today. And it's just a pleasure to be on your podcast. And I just want to say that you're not only one of my best friends, but that you're the shit when it comes to podcasting. And I can't wait to continue this relationship.
Yeah. Dude, I'm humbled just listening to you say that, man. I love you, brother. And, man, I've been waiting for this day for a while. I mean, just me and you going about sports, things like that. Cause I knew that we could just take this thing to whatever we need to take it. I mean, it may not be the greatest ever, like, oh God, like radio shows and shit like that. But you know what? This is what the whole thing's all about. Me and you talking. We have a lot to say, and we'll keep saying it, and we'll keep on going, man. I mean, I hope you come back.
Oh, I will be. Absolutely.
Well, definitely. We're Almost Famous Radio Podcast at Gmail. You can catch us on Buzzsprout. You got anything else they'll do?
Keep enjoying the beverages.
We're going to keep enjoying the beverages. And you can catch us on all your favorite podcast platforms, too. We love you. And all right.